poppin' YouTube? It's your boy Q the Flu, Q the Influencer, and we back with a special video, baby. Yo, we gonna keep this one short and sweet. You know what I'm saying? Today's menu, you know, we got my homie Kristopher, man. He did a discussion, you know, a couple of weeks ago at the Congruent space, kind of talking about branding, man, and just kind of how he got his whole situation popped off. You know, as we all know about now, you know, my boy kind of popping in Chicago and popping, you know, kind of nationally, you know, with the creation of his comic and, you know, and toy inspired chains, man. He actually got a pop-up popping, you know, this upcoming Saturday at Fat Tiger Workshop. If, you know what I'm saying, y'all available for that, man. So, you know, of course, all my, you know, I've already did a video kind of, you know, vlogging his first pop-up shop in Chicago, man. If you haven't seen that, I'm gonna add the link somewhere in the video. Check that out, man. And of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you holler at your boy down in the comment below. You know what I'm saying? I definitely take feedback. I definitely holler at the people. It's Food Gang TV. But without further ado, as we proceed to give you what you need, let's get right into the video. Gang.
That's an old thing. Like, see the difference in my name is Kristopher. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm from the Hunters. What else? I went to high school. I went to King College Prep, and then I dropped out of college, and then that's it. Yeah. Who want to start first? Y'all want to come up? Wow, everybody in the back. Come up. Oh, by the way, I want to explain real quick. I made everybody sit down on the floor because I had like my best learning experiences when I was sitting down on the floor. And I kind of like, I don't know, like everything I do, I try to bring back like a sense of nostalgia. That's kind of like what makes me happy and stuff. Like I still sit close to the TV when I play games, even though I'm not supposed to. So, like, do you guys like want to come up more? Because there's still space like right here, and space up there. Yeah. Where do we go next now? Want to start in the corner? Let's go.
My name's Blake. I'm a bit older, but I know Chris and I work with the Council Support and yeah, but I went to Ohio University, studied marketing, do some stuff for
Dope. Man, like, you can't like hold everything up there, you know? And then writing is a good way to not kind of like get off your quote unquote emotions. It definitely is for that too, but also like your ideas. It helps you expand. It's just like practicing like working your brain and stuff. I lived with like my grandma and my dad, and then like pretty much whoever was in and out the house too, pretty much just like my uncles and my aunts and then their kids also. I went to elementary school on 83rd and Blackstone, and it's a school called CICS Avalon. And it's a public school, still like, it's a charter school, but it's also like a CPS school. And then through elementary, then I went into King College Prep, and that's on 45th and Drexel. And through all of those, coming up through high school and through elementary school, I wasn't in like any art or design programs. I was in like a bunch of financial literacy programs, investment programs, anything around stocks and bonds, lawyer programs, like anything that's kind of like mainstream, like America damn near. My dad never put me in art programs. Even like, I mean, like he definitely didn't strike it down, but like I damn near played every sport aside from like actually like getting into art and stuff. So probably like later in my later years of high school, probably like sophomore year of high school, like my dad put me in like whatever program he saw that the teachers sent him, like whatever program. There's a bunch of free programs from pretty much all the programs I just named, and then they would throw in like little art and design programs. So I started getting into like a few of the art and design programs and started seeing, learning that I kind of like rocked with it and whatnot. and one of the programs was Project Us. And Project Us, they taught me a lot of stuff that I've always wanted to get into, such as sewing. They taught me the basics of sewing, graphic design, and everything around fashion, and also gave me certifications. So through all of those certifications, I learned how to make, and I could possibly even get a job depending on like where I wanted to go in those fields through design and all. Anybody have any questions about that? Like, this is kind of like when I first started getting into like Virgil and Off-White. I was like, damn, like this shit's simple as hell. I can make it at the crib, like real talk. And the thing was, it's just like, damn, like I don't have the fabrics to get it. Well, it's like I go to the thrift store and then like remake some stuff from the basic sewing skills I made. Then I would go on YouTube, find like all the like YouTube designs. I mean, not YouTube designs, all the YouTube tutorials on how to like, you know, just manage like how to sew, different sewing techniques, and then different things to add on to it. And that's one thing, like with everything that anybody wants to do, I guarantee you, like it's on YouTube. And then what else did I want to point out right there? I forgot. But wanted to also start off kind of like how I went out of high school. So coming out of high school, I graduated bottom of my class. Like I'm pretty sure I damn near, I don't know how I graduated. I literally damn near had all F's the week of graduation. Like I still got the screenshots from my dad like cursing me out and shit. Like I literally had all F's. And so when you think about like the kid who like had all F's graduating high school, it's like you're not gonna be shit in life. You know what I'm saying? Like you should look at like my classmates or how I felt when my classmates looked at me. Like they looked at me like I really had like a mental illness. Like felt bad for the poor guy and things like that. And so with that negative energy, you know, it's one thing I did with that negative energy, I channeled it all into channeled it all into my ideas that I wanted to produce. It's kind of hard for the kid with all F's to be like, yeah, I'm gonna be like more, not quote unquote, because it sounds big-headed, but like I'm gonna be more successful than all of you. You know, especially when they look down on you and say like, you know, you're not gonna be shit. And I mean, teachers and shit, like rappers say that all the time, but like when you got all SG, teachers really do be talking shit about you. Like, bro, you just came into class and just slept the whole thing. Like, yeah, you're not gonna be shit. Bouts, I want people to know, fight through it, but also like have a plan through it no matter what. And I think I kind of got it from my dad. My dad, he's a Class X felon. So every job, any place that we wanted to live in, that was like a real big part of why we were still at my grandma's, like couldn't get no job. Like I'm talking like basic minimum wage job, like working at Dunkin' Donuts. Like he couldn't even get that job, you know? And seeing like how he fought through those with no excuses. So a lot of people have excuses as to like, hypothetically, why I can't get in that program. Maybe I can get in that program because even though it's free, maybe it's too far. Well then, or maybe I don't have enough bus fare. So through all of those excuses, I say like you find a way. So like through all of my bouts, probably even like with the chains or even through my fashion, any of the fashion programs that I've been in, I made different, I made it all work through no matter what bout. If I didn't have fabric, I went to the thrift store. I repurposed my old clothes that I couldn't fit anymore. I asked around, like going to libraries and digging through, like, cause at the library downtown, they have like little scrap piles of things that like you can go through. And then that's basically kind of like what I did to even, you know, just start with fashion. So going back to my dad, he showed me like in every circumstance you would make it work. So he ended up like, probably about like 5-6 years ago, he got his first 6-figure job, Class X felon, and basically he was a train conductor on the railroad. And so around that time, I started getting into fashion and stuff. Everywhere that we would go, we would tell people, and people would talk me down. He would almost encourage them to talk me down. Like, why you want to be doing the fashion? Why you want to get a job in fashion? Like that's so. Like you're not gonna really get a job in fashion. But you know, it's kind of like you got one life, and I mean, I don't want to work at, like, it's perfectly fine like working at Dunkin' Donuts all your life if you want to, but that wasn't what I wanted to do, kind of. So I was like, yo, I wanted to live a life kind of like where I would be happy doing what I'm doing. No matter what you do, it's definitely, no matter what job field, you're able to find happiness in whatever you do. Whether it's stacking papers. Like if you get like real happiness out of it, like do that shit. And then there's gonna be jobs out there that pay well to do that shit. And so that was kind of like a big reason as to why I took the leap with going into fashion. I knew that at the end of the day, my dad was a Class X felon and still ended up with a 6-figure job. It's people that go to school for 4 years that still have to pay off loans and don't end up with a 6-figure job and still have to pay off loans. And through his troubling bouts, that's kind of how I got through my bouts. So through my bouts, I ended up going to college. And when I went up going to college, I went to Harold Washington. Did any of you guys go to Harold Washington? No one? All right, so this is kind of like, you went to Harold Washington?
Yeah.
All right, so like that's it's not the biggest city college, but it's definitely like one of the most resourceful city colleges. And I recommend like city colleges like seriously over universities. Going 2-year and then to a 4-year, it has to be like the smartest decision of all time. I don't care what no one says. So like all my classmates were kind of like looking down upon me. I really didn't care because I was like, I kind of knew like my route and my choice. Because a lot of the kids that went to school for 4 years, they were back home after a year because they couldn't afford it, because the school wasn't giving out good advice to them. And then on top of that, probably because they just flunked out. So I wasn't really feeling too bad because I kind of already knew what the future kind of held for me. So I went to Harold Washington and then went there for probably about like 2 years. And at Harold Washington, it was pretty cool. I think I had enrolled in like 4 classes and then dropped 3 the same week. So I kind of already knew that college was like not it for me at all. And so that one class, I kind of like stuck with it like throughout the rest of the semester. And then I like dropped that class also. So then I became a dropout real quick. And around that time, I was working at a sneaker store called Villa. And then Nike had called me, because I was just modeling for Nike and stuff, and then they called me and told me that they wanted me to work in a Nike lab. And I don't know if you guys know what Nike lab is, but it's only 2 in the US and I believe 6 or 7 in the world. And so I started working at Nike. And so when working at Nike, it was pretty like one of my best bouts. I met so many people there as far as contacts, so many working skills, and I learned a lot about retail. And I knew if I had to put my time into a minimum wage job, it would be a job where I could move up in the company. Something to say, like, not to really press Nike too hard in this talk, but like they did a lot for me and they helped me rise. I knew that with working with them, I would be able to build connections and they wouldn't limit my creativity or with what I wanted to do. Even though I'm just working like a regular sales for a job, I became like the ambassador. I became an influencer through them, getting tons of free stuff, getting to the events, getting all of these contacts through them. So working at Nike and then I'm out of school. And between Nike and out of school, like I was staying at my grandparents' house. And my grandparents, like, they didn't know I was out of school because the time that I was spent going to school, I just started going to the library. So I started going to like Harold Washington Library, and it's a different from the school, but it's not too far. It's like on Jackson State. And it's literally the biggest library in the state. And the library has literally is the biggest resource in the world. Like books is literally like the key to life. Like I cannot stress that anymore. You may find like your little history or your little notebooks and little notes on the internet, but I guarantee you books is where the real knowledge is at, because the internet can be deleted, files get lost, and there's tons and tons of Google pages. But went to the library and basically from 9 till they closed, I was at the library every day. I could tell you where like each homeless person sit and everybody had their designated seats. And going there, that's how I learned to make the change. I went to the library. I opened up all the books that was anything around design. And they have like a fashion resource center. So basically it's every book that you want to know on design, whatever favorite designer, like you will be just even mind blown at what books that you will find. And one of the books was Jobs in Fashion. And so it was just like a book, like you would have thought it was a textbook just on all the jobs in fashion. And I wanted to be in fashion design, and then I kind of saw like all the jobs that were available to me in fashion, from the different advertising jobs, from the different marketing jobs, from the different design jobs within design, being a part of a design team and seeing how many people that make up of, even just in clothing. Then you got shoes, sneakers, and then I started touching on, well, if there's so many jobs in fashion design, how many jobs are in design in general? And that's kind of how I got into design in general. That's how I knew I wanted to design everything, because everywhere you see, everyone would tell me like, it's no jobs in design, it's no jobs in fashion. But it's like everywhere everything that you literally see is design. Someone designed that, and that one product created X amount of jobs for that brand or for that person. So I started getting into design and reading like all the books that was there. Reading up on all the different sewing techniques I could use, how to find a manufacturer, and along with all of that, you have to interpret all of the resources that you have. A lot of people don't know the resource. We don't use the resources to our extent in today's world, like even such as social media, books, and the internet. You know, it's usually used for looking at funny videos and stuff. But I kind of like cut that out, and not to say like it was a bad thing, but I just limited it. Because I feel as if even like a lot of people would think like, you know, I stay up to like 4 a.m. in the morning, like, you know, working on a project. It is like that some nights, but honestly, the time that you just utilize even through scrolling on social media, watching TV, if you even utilize half of that time into maybe like whatever slight idea you want to do, I guarantee you it'll take off. You don't need to stay up sleepless nights. You definitely do, and it's definitely nights like that. But if you just even simply take that time of lollygagging, shit, stay in 2 weekends, see how much you get done towards the idea that you want. And so going back to studying in the library. So going in the library, I was preparing for a fashion show. So I would look up like all the different shows about my favorite designers, how they killed it, like Karl Lagerfeld, and how he changed it. And so I started studying up on Karl Lagerfeld on how he got so big. One of the biggest things that he did, like he had a runway show on the Great Wall of China. It literally took him 5 years to do a runway show on the Great Wall of China. And I think it costed like $24 million or something crazy. The thing was is that he kept pushing towards that idea. And towards his other ideas, he still was handling other ideas in the process of making that big idea happen. And a lot of, one thing that's key to everything is patience. I don't feel like a lot of people should have as much patience as you want, because like 12 months ago, literally I was in my grandfather's house, you know? And now this year, I'm not in his house anymore. I'm not gonna say where I'm at, but I'm not in his house anymore. Like I stay downtown in a nice place. And literally 12 months ago, like, I don't even think I had maybe like 200 in my account. Like I've never had, like up to the point where I was staying in his crib, I've never had over 400 in my account. And that even goes to show like the money that I put into the chains. It's not even necessarily about like how much money you make, it's what you spend it on. And that's what my dad tells me every day. Whether you go spend it on some shoes or go invest it into the idea that you have, or just even putting it aside. Cause I guarantee you, those shoes still gonna be there. Like they may sell out, but I kept putting towards my money towards the ideas of that. Even though those shoes are gonna maybe rank up in price, people are gonna be giving me those shoes for free. Now brands, they give me those shoes for free. Whatever shoe I want from whatever brand, they give me those shoes for free. And then on top of that, I'm having a brain fart, excuse me. Hey yo, listen, real quick, if you have personal conversations with me, you will notice like I will be talking like full-fledged on an idea, and I will definitely drop the complete ball. Alright, I ain't even gonna lie, I just forgot what I was talking about totally. But can somebody tell me what I was talking about?
That's the cloud. You don't need a cloud because your company's got to give you shoes.
Alright, bet. There we go. Yeah. So with that, thank you, my man. So with that, it's what's more important at the time, you know? I knew that the clothes and shoes would already be there, and I knew that my investment towards my brand would give me those shoes. And even if they weren't giving it to me, I would have the surplus, the over surplus to even be paying for the shoes. And so basically that definitely ties into the idea of how bad do you want it. You know, like everybody like, you know, wants to be a millionaire. Everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody necessarily wants to be an entrepreneur, and I'm definitely not pushing that agenda, but I'm definitely pushing the agenda of taking risks and doing what you want. Because at the end of this day in life, like I guarantee you, one of the things me and my dad always threw around was that no matter what I did, whether I failed in college, whether I failed in school, whether I failed at fashion, trying like to go surplus, because I could fail tomorrow. You think I need anybody else? It only take one. Literally, I got 50 no's, G. I got 50 no's. Even going into the pop-up, I'm like, damn. Shit, these dudes ain't even write me back to say thumbs up. Fuck you. They didn't say anything. You know, at least give me a fuck you. You know, you feel a little bit better. Like, but then I was just like, now I gotta go harder. All of those negatives and failures made me go harder. I just put it in the gas. I wouldn't get mad I just put it into my gas, like, all right, watch, you know, that writer who wouldn't write about me, watch I catch a bigger bag than he did on his salary this year. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of like the little motivations that I did. Whether it was the girl who wouldn't answer my DMs then, I bet she answer them now. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that'll be a negative then, but it was a positive. Like I love negative energy so much. I can't even stress how much I love negative energy. Like I eat that shit for breakfast, G. Like I'm still waiting on certain people to hit me up about different maybe collaborations and stuff. But I just got like 3 emails from somebody else. So that's like negative energy, and I just put that into the positive for my next project. And then when people want to reach out to me to do free stuff back when, and then I was like, nah, but now they want to pay this price, and it's like, nah, you got to pay this price even just for me to show up. You know what I mean? Let me see if there's anything else on my agenda before the Q&A. And so basically, yeah, that's pretty much that I definitely wanted to share. I wish I had a little bit more time to go more in depth on a lot of these things, but I tried to like throw in all of these key ways that I live, even from the negatives, turn them into positives and much more. Oh, and also another thing. Like, this is kind of like how the change started out. Even I have like a lot of big projects to come out that's not gonna be the change, but they're gonna still appeal to the same aesthetic and such. And kind of like, this is like what started the change, and then this is kind of like what the change are at now, you know? So when you talk about the birth and the patience of starting a project, like this is Nike's first shoe, this is Nike's last shoe. But I'm gonna keep it 100, like this was even a bigger step of evolution than it was with their shoes, you know? And it turns out with this as my first chain, and now I make bags, but this isn't even a bag, it's a sculpture, you know? Like, I'm gonna keep it 100, your favorite designer can't make this. Like, I made this from scratch, like, and Rich helped me. Like, Rich was a big part of this project. His name is engraved on here, like, you can't see it because it's covered, but like, you know, like, and then on top of that, one thing I feel like a lot of people always need is everyone thinks they need a team. You definitely need those close people on your team, but don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for nobody. You know, like, you may be here with your homie, and you know, y'all may be like, yeah, let's hit the fabric store together after this, or let's hit the fabric store tomorrow after school and shit. Like, I'm not saying like go fuck them over if they ain't trying to slide with you, but everybody don't got the same motivation as you. So you maybe got a dip. You may be on that Saturday alone, you may be like, yeah, I hit the store. Because honestly, it's a race, you know, and it's a rat race. So you gotta move at your own speed. Everybody moves at different speeds, same as learning skills. I used to hate that in school. Every teacher used to wait up on the one person like who couldn't read, and it's like, gee, they supposed to be in a different class then, like they supposed to be in a different lane, and I was just in a different lane. So I'll say, fuck it, I'm not gonna read in class. Or like, because I'd be too ahead, like they would get upset. And so this is kind of like I do things fast, but I'm also very patient with it. So I'm drilling that idea because I need it to happen. I need it to happen. And these chains don't make overnight. Like, it takes time. But I'm like, I gotta make this idea happen, get it in place. And then if something maybe I'm practically waiting for this idea, let's say I just designed a jacket. I want this fabric to come in. I wait on the fabric. Well, then I'm working on the next design. Well, then I'm working on the next project that's aside from design. And I feel like all the skills that I've spoken about today, I want them to be applied to everything in life. Even if you're in school, you know, it's patience around it. Like, one of my homies just told me, like, you know, he just been tweeting probably about the whole damn last 2 semesters, how he graduated this semester. He failed a class and he ain't graduating this semester. And there's no problem with that. There's no problem with that because it takes time. I'm telling him, like, you know, a lot of people where we come from don't even make it to college. You made it there, you in your 4th year. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, like, it's no sweat around that. Like, these failures gonna come, but it's a part of all life. Like, it's a part of life. And then another part of patience is, like, this time last year, if I gave up after everybody said, you know, that this was ugly and this wasn't it, then what would it be? If I gave up after it took me a week to sell out, then what would it be? I swear to God, the day that I got in Vogue, I walked home and I got home and the first thing that was on my bed was a letter from FIT. FIT is the #2, sometimes the #1 fashion design school, right? I wanted to get in there so fucking bad. It was a letter telling me that I did not get in to the school. I was in fucking Vogue today. You think I give a fuck? You feel me? Like, I was straight after that. I was still in my grandpa crib, but I knew where I would be in 12 months. And it's kind of like the ambition of kind of like, I didn't brag about it. I didn't tell much. Like, you'll see where I'll be in 6 months. Like, nah, G, like, I just kept that internally. And even kind of when people talked about me, like, I fell asleep during graduation. But right after graduation, where did I come?
Right here for his first show.
Right here for my first pop-up. And this wasn't even the change, this was the shorts. I could give a fuck, because I knew after I got up out that bitch, I was gonna count up on everybody. I was like, gee, I hated high school. I hated high school, and I really did not like anybody in there. They all homies and stuff too, but like the way that they treated me, like it was something wrong with me. But I kind of knew the route that I wanted to go, and it wasn't in this school. It wasn't in this school, you know? And that's basically that. I want to open up the floor for questions, and I want everybody to ask, like, whatever questions you want to ask. Like, if you want to ask me, like, yo, I don't know what you wash your face with every morning, like, whatever you want to ask, like, ask, bro, for real. Matter of fact, I need a question from everybody in this room. So, whoever want to talk first, though, everybody can speak in whatever turn. I know you want to talk.
So, like, what's, like, while you were building your following, do you think that's kind of like a big part of how you sell your chains and all of your fashion? And then on top of that, what do you think, like, would help grow your following in terms of, like, what you have to do? So, like, what do your outfits look like? What are your settings when you take your photos, stuff like that?
Yeah,
Connections.
I'm gonna keep it 100. So, like, building my following. Oh, this is another key part. I knew that I had to dabble in everything. So I've been modeling for RGP for 3-4 years maybe. As long as I've been modeling there, I've been trying to get a job there. Never got a job there, but I did a pop-up and made what I would make in a year probably working there in a day. You know? So to tag along with that is that I tried to do as much as possible. Brand, any upcoming brand, friends making music, or can I be in the video? My friend got a clothing line coming up. Yo, can I be in the flicks? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because even when they brand may take off, or you may just take off from the pictures that be taken. So that's kind of like what I say, like tagging along with my following. And then content, like just keep producing content. For real quick, I hope everybody write this down. But like Gary V, he's a guy that I listen to like a lot. Like I hate motivational speakers. He's not a motivational speaker though. He just speaks a different kind of truth that a lot of people need. He gives like the straight on truth, and he tells people like kind of just what they should be doing and whatnot, and it'd be like 30 seconds out of your day. If you on Instagram, he'd be telling you like, yo, get off Instagram, go do whatever project you're trying to do, or research that paper a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? Next question. Did I answer your question right now?
Yeah.
Alright.
So, like, do you still remember the first person that ever bought your chain?
I don't even think I was here because I was working at Nike Lab. So listen, that was another key thing. I was still doing pop-ups in New York and shit, and I was still working at Nike Lab. Like I was still getting in the dirt. I was still modeling for RGP. I was still doing all the same things that got me to where I was, and I was still doing them, if not more, you know? So no, I do not remember the first person who bought my chain. Matter of fact, I think I took a picture with him. We took a picture with him. Who's the first person? Steph was the first person.
Yes.
Briscoe, he was the first person.
Yes.
So we have pictures of like probably like the first 3 or 4 chain purchases.
Yeah, he was.
Next question.
It was a big one too.
Yeah, like the big, like the joint was literally, it was this big. It was this big.
How heavy
And it was like Edward Scissorhands.
What you got working on next?
I want to just tell y'all see it. But like, you know, it's gonna be a lot. It's a lot outside of design. It's a lot outside of the chains, definitely. To just kind of show like, kind of, you know, what the artist that and just the person and creator that I've grown into, you know. And then more things even outside of just product and producing. You know, like actually things for the community, like things that people can change. I see kind of like the different things I do and what kind of pool it gives, more than just a chain. If I can sell out some $300 chains in 5 minutes, then I can also do a lot of things. So I kind of not like limit myself, but I tell you, like, people didn't think I was gonna do the chains. So I would like to say that the next thing that I worked on is really gonna be kind of like outlandish. It is gonna build up though, you know.
I have a question. How do you like overcome the fear or the hesitation? Because like I'm in that hole right now because I really want to create a brand, but I'm in that like stage with like hesitation or fear, and I can't like overcome it as right now. Like, how did you overcome like the setbacks of that?
My dad, you know, we made a lot of choices because it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, and I kind of touched on it a little bit. I knew that I wanted to do design because I was in financial and no type of art program till I was in high school. So when I finally found out what I loved and wanted to do, is I kept looking for it. You know, even when I didn't know what I wanted to do as design, like your school doesn't really give you many choices. Like they tell you like go to school, probably engineering is probably like top ranking right now. So they'll tell you, hey, go be an engineer. I went to see like what other jobs are available to me. Rather it was in engineering or in accounting or whatever, because a lot of people go into these schools and they go into their first year and they hurry up and jump into a major, don't know what they're jumping into, and fall out. But to answer your question directly, I overcame that fear because I thought like it's nothing below me. Well, it's a safety net below me, and the safety net is the jobs that everybody already working, if that makes sense. So kind of like back to saying like my dad has a 6-figure job and he's a Class X felon. I can get that job. We was like, worst case scenario, you go work at the railroad. We still joke about that to this day. Shit, people don't like to change tomorrow. I still got literally 30 other ideas that's bigger, that's better than change in my opinion. But even if all of those strike out, fuck it. I could go work at the railroad. Even if I'm selling drugs, I get a Class X felony. You can't get no job at a Dunkin' Donuts with that, but you can go be a train conductor. You know what I'm saying? CTA bus driver, they still make good money. Post office people, they still make good money. You know, they make more money than teachers. And they go to school for 4-year degrees. And I mean, you do get some good healthcare, but if you work in a city job, you get some good healthcare too, though. You feel me? And so then, like, that's kind of just my safety net. Worst case scenario, I was just like, that's what it'd be. And there's nothing wrong and no shame in it. If you love driving, shit, you better drive your shit off on that bus, like for real. Like, even in the job that y'all don't like working now, one thing that got me like ahead of people when I was working at Nike and stuff was like, yo, like I may be making this check, but I killed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it was my job. I wasn't taking it too seriously necessarily, but I made shit happen. You know, I gave ideas and I just kind of like charged them to like what I was doing. I was working at Villa. I hated working at Villa, but I folded the shit out of them pans, G. Because the owner, when the owner came in, or the CEOs or the district managers, they was gonna remember who I am to move me up possibly, or put me in these other different positions. Or even when it comes to like fashion and shit now, like I'm not bound by them, but now they maybe want to reach out to me for a collaboration. Remember your work ethic. Or even if I'm just going to school, we got a scholarship that's open, you know? But I just overcame the fear because I'm just like, I don't got nothing to lose as it is. I was broke. I'm like, I'm broke now. I can't get broken and broke. You know what I'm saying, G? So I'm like, I'm finna go ahead it. You know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario, what happens? I'm gonna end up in the same boat that I'm already in. Why not jump ship? Anybody else? But I'm getting a question from everybody, G. I'm so serious.
As an artist, you know you have so many ideas. So how do you manage to juggle so many ideas without getting frustrated and completely abandoning other projects?
I kind of like go towards like, I'm not gonna say it like this, but I work on a big one and then try to knock out the easy ones while working at the big one. Because let's say I have the greatest design of all time. If I take 6 months, I put out that great design, it doesn't matter because I haven't even built the following up. So I would build my following up with those little projects and then have my big project right there to lead up to it. Because even before the change, I had like little projects that I did before then, like the 13 Projects t-shirt, or excuse me, like I did the shorts and stuff. Like that's the first and only t-shirt that I've ever released, like ever. A lot of people think that you can only get to quote unquote where I am at, because I don't think I'm anywhere, is by making t-shirts or even just screen printing. I made one t-shirt and that t-shirt did a lot for me because it spoke to a lot of people, you know? But I juggle them by essentially that though. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
What's good?
What you love most about being a designer?
Because it's endless. It's endless opportunities. Like I don't limit myself to a t-shirt. I ain't gonna lie, I really hate designing t-shirts. But I don't limit myself to just a t-shirt. Like it's too much in this world towards design. And I feel like design can change the world. Like a chain is cool for now, But in a few, like, I mean, like, even like, I would like to design, hypothetically, if I have the resources now, I would want to design a filter for different water systems. Even if your water is toxic, the filter will come out cleaner. Because all filters, you know, they say it's the best, but it really ain't the best. Or just design, you know, even, it's just limitless. You know, anything that you see is designed. So I feel like I can do everything. It's like I'm a superhero. And that's essentially like what I feel I am. Like I feel like I'm a superhero, and that's why like I love comics and everything. And so with design, it's like I can do anything. I can design this room. I can design the light bulbs. I can design his glasses. Shit, I can design a new hair color. I want to design a color that ain't nobody seen before. Like, real talk. Like, people would say it's impossible, and then I'll do this shit, you know? All right, you got next question? Let's do it.
So you talk about how all of us are single, you're like damn near created at home. I completely agree with you. I mean, Pyrex started with like Ralph Lauren flannels, and then he just screen printed them on. Do you believe an artist's job is to build like from the mud up or something out of nothing?
Both. Like, cause so I say a lot of the greatest ideas have came from piggybacks. So such as Steve Jobs did not make the first phone, but he made that shit 10 times better. Mark Zuckerberg, he did not make the first social media platform, but he made this shit 10 times better. Now Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and a lot of even apps that had Instagram Live, like how Instagram Live was, it was separate apps for that. They bought them and then put it on Instagram, you know? And so, I'm not gonna say like straight from the mud up, but definitely like kind of like that's how it happened. Cause it ain't nobody who can piggyback off my chains and get bigger than me. But like people can, but like me, how I first did something that was never done, coming like out the mud, you see where someone can be. So I would say both sides, you know, as long as it's kind of like not stealing, but creating and making it better, you know.
You said it was so easy to do, it's like not been done, but I was wondering if you like are influenced by other people, would you consider yourself your own influence?
I know, number one, I'm influenced by my father, like real talk. I love my daddy so much. Like he's definitely my biggest inspiration and influencer. Who else? You know, a lot of the big designers is out. I mean, Don C, big brother. One thing I also want to say when I say like even like kind of like how the grind hasn't stopped and how I keep going harder. I think like I was in Vogue. I don't know. I got in Vogue and shit, and I was still like sitting outside like my favorite artist's hotel. Like I was sitting outside of Kanye's hotel when he was staying downtown. Like listen, real quick. I'm not saying go sit outside his hotel when you pull up to show him your designs. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get it out. Even if you send it, because you may not meet him directly, you may meet his secretary. I only met him because I know Don C personally, and that's like he's like a father figure to me, honestly. And he had introduced me to him. But I didn't even know he was up there, and I was still outside Kanye's hotel. I was still meeting his different assistants and his creative consultants who he had around. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, they didn't like the change, and none of them didn't like the change. I mean, Don, of course, loved the change and shit. But like now making change for his kids, you know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know, like, you know what, I ain't even gonna lie, I forgot your question. What was the question again?
Do you like find yourself influenced by other people or you do your own thing?
Yes, I find myself influenced by everybody in the world. Like even from somebody, like any of you guys, you know? Like I'm so serious, I get influenced by any and everything. I go on Starbucks, I see a new design on the cup. I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that design on the cup? Like seriously, even from something a kid may say to me or what you guys wearing today, you know? I answered it right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I got two. One is
about your relationships with Don C. And just, of course, we see you with J Balvin and some influential, you know, people out there in the world. Could you talk a little bit about the power of just the relationships with those people? How do you build those relationships with those people? How do you foster it? And what does that process look like for you?
Man, how can I say, like, one thing I will say, a lot of people in high places are not the people that you think they are. I've met anybody that there is to met, and everybody not the coolest that they seem on Instagram. But like, I don't want to speak on, I ain't gonna do too much name dropping, but like J Balvin and Don C are like the most genuine people ever that I met on this journey. That I low-key met him, Don C, back like 4 years ago when I first, or like 5 years ago before I was even working with Nike, and I was just modeling for him. Like they had introduced me to him. So even like those many contacts, I wasn't getting paid for the photo shoot, but I had to eat mud. You know what I'm saying? Like I promise you, I still didn't probably did like hypothetically 500 photo shoots to maybe the 50 that I didn't get paid for it. You know what I'm saying? And so I just ate like a lot of dirt. But like getting those contacts, like honestly, I met Jay through Don because Don had posted up a picture of my chains, and then Jay Balvin DM'd me like directly. And so like a lot of those people, like the most genuine, like he could have had 3-4 people come through me or his assistant to come through me, but he like came up straight to me, and all of these dudes just want me to do, they just want me to grow and be better. Like they're just the most genuine dudes. Like I love them to death. I swear, like I ain't gonna say it on camera. But real talk though, I kill somebody for them though. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm the hitman if they need one. For real. Like they changed my life, and honestly, anybody, I always think kind of like sometimes I'll be talking to my dad, be like, how you know them? I'll be like, damn, low key, this was a long time ago, but I met them through I met them through Don C. Or even when I'm coming in different places with big brands, like when big brands want to collaborate with me, the first thing they name dropping in the meeting is them two dudes. You know what I'm saying? So they give me power in the meeting because I'm 19. I'll turn 20 next week. So a lot of people take me as a joke when I come in the meeting, you know? But then when they see the sales, and then when they see the people that I collaborate with, the people that I work with, it's a whole different story, you know? Does that answer your question, bro?
Yes, it definitely answers my question. I think the follow-up was just how do you continue to build and foster those relationships?
Man, just keep it genuine, you know? Like I ain't talking to them every single day, but you know, just check up, even aside from just like, yo, you got some work for me? Or like, yo, what you want today? Like, you just like, yo, like you good? Like your mental straight, you know what I'm saying? And then just keeping it genuine. Like, just be yourself, honestly. Like, if you a dick, well then you just gonna be a dick and have no friends, you know? But like, when you actually genuinely care about people and the people you're around, and you kind of feed off their energy also, you know, it leaves, even after you leave them, that energy and their aura is on you. Like, it's on you like cologne, like you drenched in they, like, you feel me? So like, I just feel so much of a giving and more generous person after I leave them. Like, I'll be like, shit, I'll probably give somebody a free chain on the street. It didn't happen plenty of times. Mugs be like, oh, you're just I'd be like, take the chain, bro. It's a good day today. Like, I don't know. It was 3 Spalding balls floating in the middle of it. And I'm just like, yo, that's sick as fuck. I want to put some action figures in it. And the initial thought of the chain was I'd be doing a tank like this big with just action figures floating in it. It didn't work like that. It turned into a chain. Like that was even like the very, very, very rough. I was just watching art documentaries, trying to learn about art, learn about history. Even if you trying to be a lawyer, watch some actual art watch some lawyer documentaries. Don't watch How to Get Away with Murder. Like, you feel me? Like, watch some actual documentaries on people going through different cases, how their lawyers handled it, how they handled it, and you know, different things like that, you know?
So, what's your support system look like? Like, do you have yes man? Do you bring that? Like, you bring some obscurity to the table. Like, do you have those people that are building ideas? Like, it's not whack, but like, you know, let's build it. You know, what about this? What about that?
Yeah. So like, my number one main man, he was supposed to come today, but it's all good. His name, I don't know if he want to put out his government, but his name on Instagram is Salvatore Dalai Lama, and that is my right hand man. Like, I love him to death. I'll take a bullet for him too. Like, as much as I've been a part of the change, he has been too. But aside from that, nobody. Like, I mean, I definitely get help from my friends here and there. For the most part, like, gee, I'm the one in the studio till 4 a.m. From sunrise till 4 a.m. Like, ain't nobody else took no trips to the, I mean, you know, like little trips here and there, but for the most part, I was the one really in the factory store. I was the one really putting all my money into this. You know what I'm saying? So, but I definitely believe in the support system because Cole Bennett, like, he talks every single day. He tells me, like, he came up with his team. Everybody has different come-ups, you know? Like, I have different people trying to manage me and stuff, and then I asked him, like, you know, for different tips here and there. He has his team, you know? He came up with him and his 5 right-hand friends. I really came up with just, like, friends here and there, you feel me? But it wasn't nobody solid. Like, I mean, like, who put in as much work or just about as much work, or was there to be like the backbone as much as I would, you know? But definitely friends helped me along the way, as it just will be inevitable, you feel me? But I mean, like, shit, I'm the one who made friends, you know? I was sewing all night. I'm the one who bought those machines. I'm the one who traveled on the buses to buy those machines. I was on a bus with sewing machines, G. A nigga in the hundreds, like literally. niggas was looking at me like, should I rob him? Like, the nigga got a sewing machine, like, for real.
So since you said like you had a lot of mentors, you had a lot of people that you looked up to, have you ever thought about or do you currently mentor? Especially more so for like little kids, especially when you just said sewing machine, because like my little sister's 14 now, but when she was 8, I bought her a sewing machine.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep on it. I keep. If somebody paying me for a talk, I do it. You feel me? Aside from that though, it ain't too many. I wouldn't take on mentors now. I would say I would have to see them put in the work, because I didn't try to motivate my friends. Like, real talk, I didn't try to motivate my friends. Like, yo, stop spending your fucking money on clothes. Put it into that project. I'm so serious. I tried to motivate other people, like not my friends. Like, yo, get it in the mud. Like, for real, for real. Like, what you doing right now? Are you shopping? Okay, get off the phone with me, dude. Like what you doing for real? Cause like I'm probably on the phone with you, but I'm shipping out orders. Like, so I wouldn't take on nobody now who's kind of like not quote unquote below me, but you understand, like still building their following and still trying to find out what they want. But like, you know, they gotta want it as bad as they want to. You know what I'm saying? And then when you see them putting in the work, then, cause that's what happened with a lot of the people. Because Joe Fresh Goods is another mentor of mine. Zoe from Fashion Week, another mentor of mine. Like, they saw me putting in the work and then took me on model put a little money in my pocket. Different calls and chats, even if it's 15 minutes, that 15 minutes, shit gonna last me for the next 15 years, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't, because I feel like I didn't try to, even with my closest friends, and then kind of saw what they stayed on. You know, everybody not gonna want it as bad as you gonna want it. Even when they see it, like, gee, like, I kind of been wanting to tell people like I had the formula. When I was failing in high school, I swear to God, I knew I was gonna be here. I didn't know how long it was gonna take. G, I don't care. I knew I was gonna be here if it took me selling drugs. But I'm like, I got the formula. But I'm like, I can't tell people that, like, nigga, you got all that. Who gonna believe you? You feel me? So even through all of that and coming up through those bouts, I had the formula and people didn't believe me. But now I do. And I'm trying to give out the formula, and then people just don't want to follow it. You know what I'm saying? So I can't waste my time. My time is very precious. But I definitely, like, when I see somebody coming up, you know, definitely give them props here and there, you know? Different ways to navigate. Even just from this talk, shit, that's the formula. I mean, I wasn't able to go as in depth as I wanted to. That's the formula though. Even just taking a few keys from this, you can just apply. Even if you stop getting on Instagram, like, even if you stop like Instagram, because I mean, you're not gonna die. You don't lose no money if you don't get on Instagram for the next week. I mean, I'll probably lose money, but like y'all, if y'all don't get on Instagram for the next week, G, and just picked up a book, and maybe read a book if you want to be a lawyer. Think about, you know how many different types of fields of lawyers, I mean lawyering or whatever the fuck you can get into, you know what I'm saying? Or reading about like, damn, I don't got enough time for school, but maybe I can get into investment. Like, what sites are best for investment? Or even with the little money that I make from my job, like, is it possible for me to, you know, invest it into that? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just like that. All right, we got a lot of more questions. I told you I need a question from everybody. Even if it's like, gee, like, what's your middle name?
Yeah, so like, you were talking about the Jeff Koons thing, you saw that, and then like, I know you like read Congress and all that, but like, did you think about the market, like how people are gonna market your changes for you when you came up with it, or is it all just like, this is good for you?
So I take a lot of stress off now by like, I buy a lot, I collect hella. So like, I go to stores and buy like arcade machines, like vintage arcade machines. I try to get the ones that still work and shit like that. I really like that. Playing video games now, like I just bought an old PS3. I could give a fuck about a PS4. I bought a PS3 because that was my childhood. That shit came out in like 2005. I've probably been through like 4 or 5 PlayStations. Bought all my old games again. They all cost $5 brand new. So I'll be getting it in on Black Ops. I was getting it on Black Ops before then. If any of y'all want that work, get my handle.
What's the word?
What else? I don't know, like pretty much what the average person does. I still watch TV and shit. I got a little bit more time to relax. And then, you know, I just try to like go out a little bit more and do things that I haven't done and experience more things, and I still learn though. Like reading comics, I read comics hella. I try to buy different books that you can't get digital copies. Thank you all for coming out.
Yo, so really quickly, man, that was the discussion. I know that was a little bit longer, of a video or album, man, but I just wanted to make sure we captured the full essence, you know, what my man was talking about, yo. I think his story is very, very inspiring. You know what I'm saying? Young dude, man, getting it in, just a creative in Chicago, you know, the city bubbling right now, full of creativity, full of young people coming up, you know, making things happen, man. And, you know, it's just definitely inspiring to hear his story. And I think, you know, anybody can get, you know, whether you're young or old, can get a lesson out of what he's talking about, man. So, you know, he giving y'all a lot of free game in this video, man. I hope y'all take heed. You know what I'm saying? I hope you find something, you know, that you can utilize in what he was talking about, man. Very inspirational talk. And I wanted to make sure that the Flu Gang, you know, and just, you know, society, period, the Flu Gang society, period, you know what I'm saying? Y'all had access to, you know, some of the gems that my boy was dropping in this conversation, man. Shout out to the Congruent space again, man. They really holding it down for just a lot of the creatives in the city, man, giving them spaces to kind of, you know, show off, you know, their creativity, host pop-up shops, and really just be a hub, you know, of just support for young creators in the city, man. Now, also, shout out to him for blessing your boy with these young Under Armour, you know what I'm saying, Forge 96 kicks, man. You know, I'm a sucker for 3M, as anybody that watches my sneaker reviews on this channel know, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, when they bless your boy with these, you know, we definitely had to free these. I was definitely happy I got them. You know what I'm saying? But that's it for today. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It's Flu Gang TV. You already know how we rocking. You already know how we coming around here. Gang, 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 gang. Yeah.
The Chicago.